Yeah, this is a dead set on the spot. No research for Tyrone. We're back again, boys and girls, with another AFL video here today. The last video myself and Ty did was our 2024 AFL ladder prediction.
Yeah, bit of controversy in that one.
There was a bit of controversy. You started a war in the comment section. Is there anything you want to say to the people who are watching who might have been offended by anything you said at all?
Watching it back, I think Collingwood do make the 8 next year. Geelong make the 8.
Collingwood fans were just sending this guy death threats. But in today's video, we are going to be doing a very early prediction on 2025 AFL free agents. Now, do you even know who the free agents are?
Andrew Brayshaw.
He is one.
He is one.
All right, maybe let's not spoil the video. All right, we'll start off with an easy one, and that is Brendan Starcevich. Where do you think he's going to go?
How's that easy?
Because I think it's pretty obvious he's going to re-sign with the Lions, right?
Actually, yeah. No, that is a shout.
All right, now another easy one, I think. Andrew Brayshaw.
Okay, so I am quite knowledgeable on this topic. He's either going to the Saints, which won't happen. He'll re-sign at Freo.
I don't see him going anywhere else. I think they're the two really easy ones to predict. We'll start off, because you're a Saints fan, we'll start off with LDU. Where does Luke Davies-Uniaca go in 2025?
I think he might be the first one on this list to move teams. I think he's similar to Brayshaw. He's either Saints or re-signing. I would have said this time last year.
More quiet than me.
Yeah.
Just put the mic
Just right here. This time last year, I would have said that he's coming to the Saints. I'm yelling. I think he re-signs.
Really?
Yeah, I do.
So the St Kilda fan thinks that LDU re-signs. Yeah. I actually think he leaves.
Really?
North Melbourne. And I'll tell you why. This is not me saying that I think LDU is going to leave North Melbourne because North Melbourne is suck or anything like that. I think LDU is not only going to leave North Melbourne just because I think the money is going to be absolutely insane, but I think he's going to be offered a role that is quite substantial in a team like either Collingwood or St Kilda.
If you think he's going to leave, what team does he go to?
So I think St Kilda are a big one.
Okay.
I think if you were to offer him 7 years, St Kilda just need that designated number one midfielder. They've got a good forward line. They're building a good back line. The midfield just needs to be filled out. I think they're a team that will offer him long-term money. I think Collingwood will be the interesting one. If Collingwood make the 8 this year, let's just say they do make it, they finish 7th or 8th. And the biggest thing they need is an inside midfielder, which we know that's what I think the biggest thing they need is, other than maybe a key forward. You're telling me you wouldn't maybe join the Pies, leave freaking North Melbourne?
Maybe. I think it depends where his head's at, I guess. I think moving to Collingwood is in the next year or two, you're a flag chance, like a genuine flag chance.
Yeah.
Saints is kind of like a more long-term.
Yeah, long-term
like,
thing.
yeah,
so you're locking in North Melbourne, I'm locking in leaving.
Yeah.
I also think they traded away their first-round pick to Richmond, knowing they're going to get a top 5 priority back for LDU. That's my theory as well. Yeah, did you think about that one? All right, we also got Sam Draper. From Adelaide. Oh, from Adelaide. No, that's the team I think he's going to go
to.
Spoilers.
It's a tough one. I don't know. I haven't heard too much about it. Like, I've just heard the rumours of going to Adelaide and whatnot. But I know Bombers have a good young ruckman that hasn't played much in Nick Bryan. Yep. He definitely needs to play more. So,
but Draper, considering as well, I think Adelaide are going to probably move on from O'Brien. Eventually, I mean, they dropped him once or twice 2024. I don't think they want O'Brien to be their long-term guy. Is Draper much better than Riley O'Brien?
Yeah.
He is. Could they turn him as well into being a much better player who will make a substantial difference?
I think at the moment he's a better player. And he has more upside, more potential.
Long-term.
Still young.
Yeah. I think the writing's on the wall for him to go to Adelaide. Matt Rowell.
Oh, wow. So I think there's rumours of him going to
There's Collingwood, Hawthorn, and some low-key ones, not by big sources, but some have mentioned Richmond.
Okay.
Yeah, because they have
Maybe,
like
I
$8
mean,
million in cap space.
That's fair. I mean, I think personally he'll stay. I think Gold Coast are building something nice. He sees
They're
it.
notorious for overpaying players who get
Yeah,
Victorian
that's
interest.
true. Yes, I think he stays with his best mate, Noah Anderson.
Yeah.
That's their future midfield for a while with other young
He's
players
kind of in a similar spot to LDU, I feel like, as well. Those Victorian teams who come knocking, who are looking for that new number one midfielder to come into the team. I mean, if he goes to Richmond, he's the number one guy. He wouldn't be the number one guy on Hawthorn.
Really?
I don't think.
Who do you think's number one? Newcomb?
Is Newcomb better than?
Nah.
Maybe
Rowell.
Rowell is number one on
Yeah.
Hawthorn.
I reckon
Jeez,
he is.
Hawthorn fans might be pissed at that though, because all their midfielders are so good. It's hard to pick.
See, I reckon their midfield isn't that great.
I think it is.
The midfield as a unit is good, but they have
Yeah.
no star players. If you look at it, they have Newcomb.
Some
who's-
would argue Newcomb's a star player.
I'd say he's.
You're gonna get some hate for that.
I know. I'd say he's a minus, A player.
Yeah.
He's not like an A plus, but
At Collingwood, he'd also be their number one. He wouldn't be their best midfielder, but he'd be their number one midfielder. Because Dacos would play more of an outside role that I
Yeah.
think he
Yeah,
is
that's fair.
so much better at doing than... I mean, when you have Nick Dacos on your team, you don't want Nick Dacos to be the guy that goes in and gets the contested possession, gets the hard clearance. You want a guy like Matt Rowell, who was literally built and born to do that, to
Yeah,
go
exactly.
in and do that.
what about DeGoey?
No, well, Tom Mitchell
You
was
reckon?
their guy in the flag year, and DeGoey as well was also their other guy, and then Dacos would hang about a bit more on the outside. It's the same as in Port Adelaide, you'd have a guy like Wines or Horn Francis going in for Butters to sit on the outside. That's what you want if you're Collingwood. That's why they'd be going after Matt Rowell. I think he'll probably re-sign because they're notorious for re-signing
Yeah,
players
I reckon he
and
re-signs.
overpaying for them.
Yeah.
The other one is Tom de Koning from Carlton.
Ooh.
And there's obviously
Wow.
been, very early onwards, extreme amount of significant interest from Richmond, who have
Tigers, is it?
have
Okay.
so much salary cap. They need a ruckman for the future. Could probably make him the highest paid ruckman in the game.
I think he definitely has the potential of being the best ruckman in the game.
Well, he should be a top 5 this year.
I'd say he was top 5 last year.
Yeah, well, there you go.
But I
There
mean,
you go.
he was obviously had injuries and stuff.
Mm.
But I think as long as he stays injury free, that's the main thing.
Yeah.
He'll be top 5 quite easily. I
Yeah.
think maybe even top 3.
Well, Carlton right now probably have the tightest salary cap in the AFL. I mean, it was the reason they lost out on Dan Houston in the
Yeah,
end, is
true.
their salary cap was just, they couldn't fit him in. If Dan Houston was getting offered $900K a year from Collingwood and they couldn't match that, what happens when DeConing gets offered that same amount from Richmond, who will offer him a lot of money?
Yeah.
I just think it makes sense. I think DeConing would come in. Not only would he play great with the Tigers, be their future ruckman for the next 6 or 7 years, but in the short term, I think he can play with Nank. I
Yep.
think they could also play together. And Richmond is going to need to bring in a player or two because they're going to have so much salary cap. They're going to land a big fish.
Yeah, you have to.
I don't know who it's going to be,
Yeah.
but they're going to land someone. And I think DeConing makes a ton of sense.
It does make sense. I think you guys don't, without knowing your list fully,
Yeah.
I don't think you have any young ruckmen coming through.
No,
apart from
none.
Samson Ryan.
Yeah,
who-
no,
Is he?
you might as well
we
be our
won't get
young
started.
ruckman coming through.
Yeah, we won't get started on that one. But I think, yeah, it makes sense. He'll be your main ruckman for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
Alongside Nank for...
But everyone
till he
always
retires.
says, I've heard people say, why would DeConing leave Carlton to go to a rebuilding team, considering he's just spent so much time rebuilding with Carlton? Right, the argument to that is he really didn't. He joined the later part of the rebuild. He hasn't been there since 15, 16, like Patrick
Yeah.
Cripps.
Yeah.
That's a bit of a different scenario. Not just that, the money Richmond are going to offer, the security and I think future that Richmond are going to offer as well. You tell him, look, we had 8 draft picks last year, 7 of them basically being first round. We'll have another 2 or 3 probably this year. We'll bring in you, another free agent or 2.
Yeah.
You wouldn't think finals would be an 8-year rebuild like
No.
Carlton's was. You'd think it'd be way quicker than that.
I think, yeah, he he wouldn't be. His thought wouldn't be like going to Tigers for a massive rebuild.
Yeah.
It's like, that's a good young list with all your draft picks
already.
and stuff.
Yep.
In the next, let's give it like 5 years, and you'll be
Exactly right.
around that finals mark again. So
The last player I'll ask you about, who's not a free agent, but does he re-sign or does he go? This might be the controversial one. What is Harley Reed doing?
I think he goes.
Whoa.
I think he goes. I reckon
To
he goes
St Kilda.
to Saints. It's a lot. I think Bombers landing, which he wants to play for a big club. It's either Tigers
or Bombers. Yeah.
Carlton aren't really
No, impossible.
Him.
Collingwood, impossible.
Collingwood, I don't.
None of the other Victorian teams would interest him. It'd be out of Essendon or Richmond.
Yeah.
I don't think it happens this year. I think there'll be interest in 2026. Richmond will offer him freaking 20 million, 10 years. Essendon will do the same thing. I think West Coast will offer him the same thing, and I think he'll stay at West Coast because everyone I've spoken to about Perth loves Perth.
Yeah.
There's no one that, like, majority of the time, I feel like players have been more likely to leave a Queensland club way more than like a Perth club.
Yeah.
Like, I think when people go to Perth, they usually like it. I think Harley Reid will re-sign. I don't think Richmond will be able to make a compelling case. I really don't think Essendon will be able to make a compelling case.
Yeah. I know he's best mates with Nate Caddy, which helps. I can see him leaving, if I'm being honest.
I see him staying. Well, let us know what you guys think down below. Was Ty as controversial in this video as he usually is? Let me know. Leave a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel for latest AFL content. We'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.